boys are back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, another one.
How
Yeah,
you doing today?
man, I'm doing awesome, Peter. I think it's going great. We had a great guest last podcast, and we got another great guest today. So I like the flow. I like the momentum.
Oh man, today we are honored to truly have a true luminary in the real estate industry joining us.
Yeah, real treat.
Oh yeah, Mr. Roddy de la Garza. Now let me tell you a little bit about Roddy de la Garza. So, with nearly 3 decades of experience, Roddy has been a transformative force in real estate as a broker associate and the regional growth director at eXp Realty. Roddy has empowered over 18,000 agents across California and Texas, fostering productivity and success with the nation's largest real estate brokerage. So Roddy's impressive track record includes over 300 million in sales and assisting more than 700 clients in buying or selling their homes since 2010. His expertise spans full service representation for sellers and strategic guidance for buyers, ensuring success in today's dynamic market. So without further ado, please welcome to the Probate Hero Collective, Mr. Roddy de la Garza. Roddy,
come on down.
Hey,
come on down.
Did we get him? Is he in?
Where's he at? Where's our boy at?
Where'd he
Should
go?
be coming.
There he is.
There he is. Roddy,
Hey,
there's our boy.
How are you?
He's
What's
in
going
there.
on?
Right, welcome. Welcome.
How
Thank
you
you.
doing,
Thank
buddy?
you.
Good to see you. Thank you for taking time to jump on the Probate Hero Collective. We're so honored to have you here. We just gave you a great introduction.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You'll have to see it later so you can see what we said about you.
Okay, that's awesome. Good to see you guys on a busy, productive Monday.
It's been quite a Monday. Yeah, we had a property hit the market this morning that we took on Saturday, and my phone has been blowing up all day about it. So I'm sure it's going to be in escrow by the end of the week. No question.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey,
So-
for the viewers out there, it's another off-market. Well, it was off-market probate. We ended up taking it to the market, but it's another probate.
Another probate. Yeah. Another fixer. Great opportunity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things you consistently can count on, as you guys have taught me, right? The market doesn't go anywhere for those. So that's just endless opportunities to help other people navigate at a time when they need the help the most.
Exactly.
For sure.
That's
Absolutely.
That's why it's our bread and butter. But Roddy, we know you're super busy. Ray and I, we talked a lot about this upcoming podcast, Saturday while we were together, on our road show, going on appointments. And we want to talk, we have 5 questions for you. We always like to narrow it down to 5 kind of like most impactful questions that we have organized for you. So if you're okay with it, we'd like to just kind of jump right in.
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right. Let's do it. So you've mentored and guided thousands of agents. And what are some of the most common misconceptions that realtors have, when they hear about eXp Realty? Because that misconception sometimes can get miscued. So you being the director of growth, I mean, what are some of those that you're hearing out there?
I think the most common misconception is that somehow we're some type of multi-level marketing or pyramid marketing scheme, and that we don't actually sell real estate. We work to just recruit other agents, and nothing could be further from the truth there, just because we are number one in terms of overall transaction count. We're selling a lot of houses, and we are we've created an infinite plan for agent retirement that has nothing to do with multi-level marketing or downline marketing in regards to reselling somebody else's product, right? What we do is we help and invest in others to succeed. I think that, to be honest, that was my first wall that I had to conquer with eXp, because it was easy for folks who didn't understand it and didn't want to take the time to really learn to dismiss it with that. But I've learned a long time ago also that to provide any kind of pre-assumed notion or contempt towards anything prior to investigating it fully myself is a weakness, not a strength, right? So I had to really understand what was being presented to me, but that would be the number one misconception.
Right there. And let me ask you, how do you, how do you personally help agents like cut through the noise, to get to the truth about what eXp truly offers, right?
Yeah.
Agent, there's always coming with this, he said, she said. So, how do you help them cut through that?
Well, I think the important thing for anyone who's doing attraction or anyone who's trying to just help another person develop and understand their potential, and that's really what the opportunities are, is not everybody wants the same version of the dream that I do, and nobody wants the same version of the dream that Ray does, right? Or that Gary does. So what we have to do is we have to understand what it is that that particular person wants to do with their career and wants to do with their opportunities to serve others, and then finding in it how to match them up to the myriad of tools and the incredible platform that we have to show them how we can get them started with achieving the goals they have for today, and then increasing that proportionately as they find their place to succeed within our organization. And so the best way to do that is to help meet them exactly where they're at and show them how we can help them achieve their most immediate next few goals. Because keep it really simple. Most agents, if I talk to them and I just say, hey, if I could teach you how to sell 3 more houses this year, would that make a difference? And the vast majority of them would say yes, And then other than that, we continue to provide them more and more ways to plan for the future and to take on new skills and to network better with others. And it just continues an ongoing rollout of pathways to success.
Wow. That's a good answer.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. Yeah. I mean, makes sense.
I will tell you this, Roddy, we are going to be asking questions about eXp because we got you here and you're the man.
Sure.
Yeah, this is the man.
And our audience wants to hear it, because, they've been bombarded with the noise, and, more than likely you're going to say something that's going to help, like what Ray just asked you, cut through that noise and get to that truth about what eXp really offers. So that's a perfect segue into the next question. And I'm hoping you can share what is, in your opinion, or I should actually frame this as, why, in your opinion, why do you think some agents are hesitant to join eXp, even when they see the growth, the model, and the success of others who are already inside the company?
I think it comes down to one of two things. They either have something within themselves that holds them back. It's got to be fear, right? It's got to be some type of fear that I'm not going to succeed, right? Or they have, on the other end, they have someone else around them that's implementing or planting that fear, Most great reward requires an investment of great risk, right? Doing a change into something that's different. But when you think about it, with 85,000 agents, and as long as we've been in business, and the amount of transactions that we've conducted now, and the systems by which we've increased our service to our agent base and increased ourselves in terms of our technology platform, the risk just really isn't there as it used to be. It's not like we're asking you to come on board to something brand new. It's an overall fear of jumping into that cold pool, right? Into something new. And that's something that folks within themselves have to understand or muster. It's the same as, I meet agents sometimes that no matter how many times you try to provide them a lead or an introduction, they just can't motivate themselves to get out there and face the first showing or face the first question or the first negotiation. You've got to just have someone in your corner who's going to encourage you and support you as you cross that path, And I say it's primarily fear of making a mistake, or someone around you in your sphere is putting that fear into you that you may make a mistake. But you know what? I never got to anywhere in my life without lots of mistakes and lots of successes. But at this point, the eXp pathway is proven, And I think what folks have to ask for themselves is am I ready to make a change? And people will still, here's something I've learned about folks, guys, is people will continue to do what they're going to do until the pain of change, right, is less than the pain of staying the same. So we just have to be patient with them, hang out with them, show them by by our actions, show them as a company, show them as a network of other agents that over here the water is just fine.
So follow-up question, that's a great answer.
Mhm.
Follow-up question is, when you're having that honest one-on-one conversation, what do you tell an agent who responds to you and says, you know, eXp sounds great, it looks great, it's obviously successful, but I'm just so committed to my broker and my brokerage, I could never see that leaving.
I understand. There's one thing that I've learned also, and I myself, and I can only speak to things that I've been through myself, right? But loyalty and comfort are the thief of innovation, right? And to stay there and to not really to feel so comfortable and so loyal beyond looking out and understanding what's the best for yourself, for the people you lead and the people that you feed, right? I don't know if that is truly being comfortable and loyal or just being closed off. You know, the thing is, all of us in this industry have to continually be evolving and learning, you know, and I don't think that there's any amount of exploration and education that at worst can't land you into a more educated space. And then sometimes, as we've learned over and over again, into a much more financially beneficial and joyous space, right? So I think that is you can't mistake comfort, right, for having fulfilled your ultimate destiny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Amen to that.
I feel like I'm on the Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
No, but that is so true, you know, and Roddy, just to piggyback off that, sometimes agents just can't get in their own way to see such a bright future and just be open to it. And I think to what you're saying, that's pretty much what it is what is their goals. And this is an opportunity if they choose to be open to it in a sense, right?
I think also it is that opportunity. I say to agents, I go, why don't you come over here for summer camp? Come over here for and see what happens. If I can't get you, you know, a couple more transactions, a better group of colleagues, and start having a little more fun, you can always go back. You know, we're not going to hold you down. And that's the other thing. Sometimes I wonder when I talk to agents that are thinking about leaving, just how foreign our concept is to them. You know, I was a managing broker at eXp prior to being the regional director of growth, and I was a team leader prior to being that, and then I was a solo agent prior to being that. And one of the things that really resonated with me is how truly every day we each wake up and say we're going to do what's best for the agents no matter what. And part of that is sometimes the decision to say, we may have disappointed someone or we can't retain someone and they need to step away and go somewhere else, right? They decide to go. We're the only brokerage I know of that is gracious and open about the idea that sometimes people need to go to summer camp on us, right? Sometimes they need to go and check something out, an opportunity, something that's challenged them, but we let them go graciously and we always welcome them back. And for that reason, 9.2 agents every weekday come back to eXp, because we let people go freely to find their joy, to find what it is that is their destiny in real estate, what it is they want to do. I find it very interesting as I talk to folks who say, hey, I may want to go check out eXp for a little while, Mr. Competitive Broker. They're very rarely met with the same type of grace that we provide within our own brokerage. And I think that's the tantamount test of who's operating in whose best interest. And I think that the reason that we can exist in that sphere of explore, young man, come back, young man, venture out, wayward young woman, and then come back, you're always welcome here. That is not everywhere, because we want agents to make sure they're 100% certain this is where they want to be and this is where they can build their future.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, appreciate that answer. And that kind of segues to this next question. I mean, yourself, you've had an incredible career in traditional real estate. You know, what was the turning point to that made you say, you know, eXp is the future and I want to help build it to work in the position you're at with eXp, being the director of growth for eXp?
There are two key things that happened, because I orbited around eXp for a while from traditional. I worked at a traditional brokerage. I worked at a non-traditional tech-focused brokerage, and I was my own broker and worked at an independent family brokerage. So I've explored different scenarios around there, right? But I was very careful about my book of business and the people who looked up to me and where I was going to land, and that I owed it to them to do a lot of due diligence. So I circled around eXp for about 2.5 years, continuing to meet different people throughout there who invited me to come be part of it. I made the decision to come when I put down my predisposed assumptions about what the attraction benefits were, the revenue attraction benefits of building a downline. And I was at eXp, and they made an announcement about a very big leader in the state of Florida who had passed away, and an announcement that her daughter was going to be able to inherit her revenue share, and that they were going to not only do it for her, who had been a longtime leader of growth within the industry, but they were going to make that available to every eXp agent. I paused because I've sat in many corporate meetings at different places, and no one that I had sat with before, do I think would have said anything like that. Like, let's make sure this legacy continues for the people that she worked so hard to support. That was when I decided that I'm coming over to eXp, because there was the proof in the pudding for me that I needed to see. It was about 3 weeks into my role as a managing broker when I was receiving and communicating with, hundreds of agents a week, talking to them, coaching them through, that I could hear in their voice and in their excitement and in their transactions. And I could see in the effective roles of the leadership around me how different and exciting this was. I did not expect in my 3rd decade of real estate to be a part of something so exciting and busy and productive and continually evolving. But I learned from dealing with those agents and working with them, and the pleasure of those interactions, to see the significant difference we were making. And that's when I went from being just the broker to the idea that I needed to preach the gospel of eXp to as many people as possible, because nothing has existed like this prior, and everyone else that's imitating us seems to have everything in line except that genesis, that spark that created the whole idea in the first place. You can copy us, but you don't have that magical moment of being the first to generate this kind of culture.
Yeah. So to your point, I mean, you were going to summer camp for 2.5 years. You were checking eXp out, and the turning point was a company that really puts agents first. And I mean, Gary, you got a personal story to that with your pops.
I was going to say what the story you just shared with us about the prominent agent in Florida who passed away, and the rev share went to the daughter.
Yeah.
I experienced that in 2022 when my father passed away.
Yeah.
It was, I was in a place where I didn't even know if I was going to stay in real estate anymore. And when I got over that and I picked up, my own personal pieces and continued with the business and got deals that we had in escrow closed, it was so easy when I contacted eXp. And I reached out to Glenn directly. And
I was just going to say, you talked to the owner, the founder, directly in the compassion he gave you. Said, hey, we're going to take care of you.
Yeah. Glenn knows my father. He knew my father very well. Like he was the reason why my father came into eXp as one of the original guys in California to begin with. I mean, when my father was doing probate meetups in the Bay Area, Glenn and Debbie showed up in their big RV when they were touring the country in the RV and stopped at one of my father's meetups to speak. Him and my father built a friendship. And when my father passed away, I reached out to Glenn, and he connected me with the right people. And it was like that. They moved my father's rev share over to me, and it was heaven sent. I was at a place where I didn't know. I spent all my time with my father since we joined eXp in 2008, building my father's downline. We worked as a team to build that one downline with the plan that as soon as we reached 1,000 agents with him, we would start building out my side. And he unfortunately, passed away when we hit like the 400 agent mark. So I was like, wow, all that work, what's going to happen to all that? And I had nothing to worry about. eXp was very gracious. Everyone that I dealt with was very helpful, and without any pushback whatsoever, they moved everything right over to me. And I mean, I can speak from personal experience. That's how eXp works. And man, that was just, I knew I was in the right place for the rest of my career. There's not a wavering bone in my body.
That it was very much an idea. When I heard that happen, I saw it happen. The announcement was made, and I hadn't joined eXp yet. Right at that point, I was just in that conference room. There are a myriad of different ways that the company could have addressed something like that. They could have given someone a medal or an award or a hat or a ticket. But you know what they did? They gave them all the fruits and benefits of their loved one's hard work. And it didn't have to be that way. The fact that they chose to do it that way as a large corporation who could have made any other decisions, that was where I said, okay,
yeah,
they're really about what they say they're about.
Yeah.
And that's what it took. I have known so many agents over the years. I had agents that handed me their book of business when I was like 23, 24 years old, or I saw people that would sell their book of business or sell into long-term to sell to other franchise holders, things like this. And it just doesn't exist like that anymore today. Unfortunately, I have attended way more agent funerals than I have agent retirement parties. And there's something wrong with that, right? There's something wrong with people having to work every day and produce solely on their own efforts for the rest of their life. As agents, we need to look out for each other. We need to look out for our industry. We need to look out for our communities that we're involved in. And there's no other platform like eXp that's doing it for everyone in there involved.
True.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm a little moved because that really, with everything you just said, that resonates and touches a soft spot with me because I've lived it. So I can speak right. I can speak straight through the truth of my teeth that it's everything that Roddy is saying is 100% accurate, and I've lived it, I've experienced it, right? But moving into the next question, now you're not only a top producing real estate agent, but you're also a leader in the agent development piece. So what advice do you have for realtors who feel like they're, hitting the ceiling in their business or brokerage?
Mm-hmm. So lose the ego and ask for help. Help is out there. There's a continuing race in terms of, especially for brokers, independents, and teams, right? There's a continued race of decreasing commission amounts, agents demanding lower splits, higher costs in terms of staying in compliance, higher costs in terms of protecting yourself from liability, never-ending chasing of new technologies and marketing mechanisms that go on. It has become incredibly, how could I put it, mundane and impossible to try to keep track of everything on your own. And I know that it's very hard for people to be able to produce their own transactions, take care of the teams and the folks that they bring in, take care of all of those other issues, and still at the end of the day, have a little bit of joy and a little bit of profit. The model has changed, right? So by just being open-minded enough, if you're open-minded enough to have a conversation about how technology systems and teamwork can audit the way you do your business, and if there's a way to make all of those better, then you at least owe it to yourself and the people you support, including your team lead and families, to have a conversation with eXp, because it's going to at least highlight some areas of your business that could be improved. And between the two of us, hey, best case scenario, you're at eXp. Worst case scenario, we know how each other operate, and you're going to encounter one of our agents across the deal table. But either way, we're taking care of each other as an industry and educating each other on those opportunities. You've just got to retain an open mind, and you got to ask for help.
Yeah, asking for help's not a weakness; it's a strength.
Absolutely.
We learned that last week when we had Ricky Mendez on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny when I was a young man, I had the idea that I had to know everything, right? Now what I've realized is I have to know everybody. I need to know who to go to for certain things, because I'll never gain the knowledge of probate that your father had. I'll never gain the knowledge of commercial leasing and recruiting huge volumes of, big box businesses that my father had in commercial real estate. But I know now who to go to for the things that I'm not an expert on, but I also know the things I'm an expert on. And that just comes with practice.
And, speaking of your expertise and mentioning probate, and this happens to be the Probate Hero Collective, right? That's the name of the podcast. So over your, you've done 300 million in volume and probably definitely growing way more than that. You've closed a lot of deals. You've helped over 700 families, buy or sell real estate. You've done a ton. Like, you're a mega producer. But when we met and you heard me talk, and me and Ray, when you heard Ray and I talk about our probate opportunity, our probate training, our systemized approach to it, you recently added probate to your business.
Absolutely.
So share with our viewers the opportunity and what bells went off in your head when you heard what Ray and I were explaining.
Now, here's the thing is I've heard about probate a lot over the course of the years, and I've even done transactions with probate where we had to get a lot of expert help. There's a difference between having a gimmick and having a gift, right? And there's a lot of people that will come around and try to sell you the next gimmick, the thing that's going to help you, transition people into sales. But what the Probate Heroes Collective and what you gentlemen have and what you've provided to the agents on my team is a gift to the agent and a gift to the clients, because they're not even aware that these types of higher level services and solutions are available to them, in an industry and in an area or niche that is never ending. We're not going to, and unfortunately, we're never going to stop needing these type of services. Mm-hmm. But you're not looking for the quick, fast, I'm going to sell you. You could go down that model. I'm going to sell you leads. I'm going to do this. I'll sell you a script. I'll do all of this. It's like there's all parts of the training and all parts of it that are done to make sure that people are using this gift that you're providing to help other people transform their lives, and then also generate for themselves a good income by being of service to others. It's not a one and done kind of thing. It's an ongoing building of relationships. And it stood out. My phone as a productive broker never stops with people trying to connect or sell me something or procure something. But what I heard when I met you, Gary and Ray, was we have so many people that need help. How can we get more people to help people so we can all help each other? And that's what stood out to me.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. Well, that's, great compliment coming from you. So thank you. I'm glad we were able to make a good impression.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So as we get to the final question here, you've seen firsthand how community collaboration and culture can transform an agent's business. What makes the agent culture at eXp different from what you've experienced elsewhere, and how has that impacted you, personally and professionally? Especially, you've been at different brokerages, you've ran your own brokerages, so now being with eXp, share with us on that.
I think the one thing is how do you describe the Grand Canyon to someone who's never seen it, right? And that's just kind of like, because I remember the first time as a young man that I saw the Grand Canyon. Like, I went there and it happened to be an Easter morning, and it was the most beautiful and incredible place that I had ever seen, right? I couldn't even begin to fathom what it was like to actually see that, And it's very similar there. You have to come to really start to experience that you did have blinders on. And it's not even a blinder. It's almost as if you couldn't see as deep into the scope as was there, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And once you get here and you start experiencing it, I had lunch today with some top leaders in my area and potential recruits. And the amount of pouring into others, the amount of sharing of good ideas, the amount and the significant mental switch that happens when you say there's enough business for all of us, right? And I'm going to share with you what I know. And if I've already conquered something, I want to share it with you. I don't want to watch you stumble and fall on your own as you deal with the same issues. What I've done and built, I want to share with you so you can grow and build. And the biggest reason that works at eXp is because we are all owners of this company. We are a company built by agents for agents. So as one of us rises, we all rise. And I think that I meet agents from other areas and other places that idea that you can't share your client list, or that someone may take your client if you're not there in the office, or this idea of competitiveness instead of collaboration, it still exists today. The only thing is we've evolved as people and as a community beyond that, and it's time for the real estate industry to evolve that as well too. We would not allow our 13-year-olds to treat other kids at the lunch table the way that some agents treat other agents in a professional transaction.
Yeah, very true.
And so the idea here is we need to, within each other, step it up to provide a better caliber relationship between all agents. And I think until you actually hear and you see how much our leadership, as well as our great leader agents who have built great organizations, and then just the agents who surround you every day, how much people are truly vested in being not just your friend and your colleague, right, but your partner in this industry. I have never experienced it where it's completely authentic at another, like I have here. I have been at other brokerages where people say, oh, it's fantastic, it's great, but as soon as the leader within the office manager's out of the room, or someone else is out of the room, the conversation turns completely different, and people are complaining. What's funny here is you can be amongst different agents here at eXp, and the love for the brokerage, the company, and the camaraderie is on all of the time. There's no inauthenticity about how in love people are with this brokerage.
That's very true. And in Carlsbad, Ray and I had a guest from Compass attend the rally, and that was the perspective he shared with us. Was that, man, the misconceptions, the false point of view and ideas that I had about eXp, those are all gone. Like, this is such a great environment. All the agents are so great, and the energy in the room has been phenomenal and impactful. Like I had it all wrong, because I'm so glad you guys brought me to the event.
It's true, because here's the thing too, is in your office, when someone says, Ray Marquez just closed 2.2 million, in San Francisco, does everyone in the office go, right? Or do they go, oh my gosh? And the thing is here is we all get excited for each other. When someone succeeds at something, it's just interesting how it all succeeds. I had an agent from a competitive brokerage who has recently closed offices in the general area. I'll leave it there. But they have been given a directive that they are not allowed to like other agents' social media posts.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to understand, where does that's back to that 13-year-old lunch table behavior. If I genuinely like you, and it doesn't matter where you are at a brokerage or where you're listed, you are my colleague, you are my comrade in this industry. We are in this together. To tell agents that they can't like certain things or show up at other people's broker caravan open houses or things like that, it is so the antithesis of what we need as an industry right now, which I think creates nothing but opportunity for people who want to be surrounded by other people. Community, we're starving for it as an industry again. When I started in real estate in 1993, we met twice a week, once at the Board of Realtors and once at a restaurant, to talk about new listings. And it was all the agents that were in the community connecting with each other and visiting each other's listings and talking to lenders. And it was just a regular part of what we did. That idea that we had to collaborate and educate each other so that we were all doing better, it's back to that now. It's not to this, I've got a secret and I'm not going to tell you how I do what I do because I don't want you to take away from me. That's just not going to work anymore. It's got to be about, how do we all do this together? How do we step back into the hometown square of real estate, and everybody's celebrating everybody with all their unique perspectives, products, and differences? There's room for everybody here to succeed.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, just to add on to that, I mean, you're 100% correct. And that's the reason why Gary and I wanted to start a podcast and sharing this, because it's like, how do we help other agents do what we're doing? It's like, a scarcity mindset is, oh, you're going to create competition, et cetera, et cetera. An abundance mindset is there's plenty of business for everybody. And that's where we come from and why we align. And I think with EXP, it's the same format. I mean, Gary, to your point at the luxury, I mean, luxury is another piece of the business that Gary and I are building. And there was, luxury agents there saying, hey, what do you need? I'll share all my stuff. And that's what we're like, wow, so we're tapping into that. But that's what it brings, that how can we all help each other raise up? Because to your point, we all need to help each other for the clients out there, that everything rises. So great insights.
And Ray, you've said this a couple of times too. Mindset is important. I mean, and that mindset that you train yourself with, and that you drive yourself with every day. In 2015, another brokerage relocated me from Dallas Fort Worth to West Los Angeles to help try to grow market share, right, in one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive and highly watched markets in the United States, right? And then after we really conquered it and we're doing some really good stuff, I had someone say to me, gosh, Roddy, you're really brave. You're really brave to have taken this. You took what worked in Texas and brought it to West LA and it worked. You're really brave. And that was interesting to me, Ray, because I never thought of myself as brave. But I will tell you that my mindset, not at one time, no matter how nervous I got or I second guessed myself, it was never in my mind, not for a moment, that I would fail. And I don't know where that comes from, and I don't know where we get it, but typically it's based upon the immediate people you surround yourself with. Are they telling you that you can succeed and that they're supporting you and that they're rooting you on, or do you not feel that, right? I think there's this idea that if this is being presented to me and I have a team around me that supports me, how can I fail? And if you're not surrounding yourself with those people that give you that kind of courage, I think it's time to take a look at who you're surrounding yourself with.
Great point.
What's that?
Great point.
What's that phrase, Ray? That your success is determined by the 5 closest people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, I mean, proximity is power. Tony Robbins promotes that. I mean, show me who your 3, 4, 5 best friends are. I'll show you what your life looks like. I mean, it's very obvious who you're around is who you're going to become.
And then
it's leveling up.
I tell leaders too, team leaders, growth leaders, et cetera, to identify the nation on their team. So in the story of the great flood, right? In the story of the Bible of the great flood and the parting of the Red Sea, there's a moment where the sea parts, right? And they're being instructed to cross the sea. Now, no one had ever seen anything like that in this story, right? But the first guy who does not doubt it, right, and then just starts going across is Nahshon. And what that means is you need to find on your team that one person who has that spirit to lead your team growth and directive. They don't need to wait to be proven that it's the right thing to do. They just know it in their gut that if I'm being led in that direction and everything is telling me to go, I'm going to be brave enough. I'm going to show up and I'm going to lead the others, into that direction. So one of the things I do in my coaching is I teach people to find their Nahshon, find whoever that is on your team that's going to lead in that direction. Because when you find that leader, they will continue to lead and grow with you.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
Borrow that one from you as well.
Hey, whatever's mine, I freely give, because how much have you given to me? I already hear Ray and Gary in my conversations as I talk to people on a regular basis. And you know what? That's how we survive. That's how your dad survives, Gary. That's how my dad survives in these industries. We have great leaders who pour into us, we pour into others, and then long after you and I are not there, the same ideas of service, of excitement for this industry and of changing for others is going to continue to survive through the mouths of others, the actions of others, and into future transactions. And that's the key to it, is staying relevant, present, and a part of everything that's driving it forward. So we give to each other so that we can outlast, and continue to be a relevant part of this industry.
Wow. I mean, that is. I think we need to wrap up with you saying that. Right?
That's a mic drop.
You just dropped the mic big time, man. Roddy, Ray, and I both, we want to thank you so much for taking time to join us today. All of your insights, your vast experience, but really your genuine passion for helping agents and helping agents grow, both personally and professionally. Obviously, that stood out loud and clear. through this interview. It's clear why you've become such a respected leader in this industry. You broke down all the myths about eXp. You shared what it really takes to succeed in this business and how to elevate others and take care of the real estate community, regardless of what brokerage they're at. Your perspective has been not only refreshing, but truly empowering. I mean, I know I'm speaking for Ray as well, but truly
100%. Yeah.
So for all of our listeners, we're going to connect you with Roddy. We're going to have his email in the show notes. We'll have all the connections to his social media on there. So you should definitely follow Roddy. If Roddy shared something today that sparked your curiosity or even challenged your thinking, don't let it stop right there. Reach out, ask questions. You're going to be able to reach out and communicate directly with Roddy if you want to continue that conversation and get some questions answered. Just take the next step, because as we've learned today from Roddy, growth starts with being open to possibility. So, Roddy, we appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Probate Hero Collective. You really gave us an amazing interview. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Gentlemen. And may I, as a final wish to yourselves and to everyone, I hope that everyone on this call wakes up every day with an excitement to work among peers and in an industry and at a company, as I have, working alongside all of you. Okay?
The feeling is
awesome.
mutual.
All right.
Yeah,
so Ray and I are going to do our sign off here really quick. So this has been the Probate Hero Collective. As always, I'm Gary.
I'm Ray.
So make sure you stay focused, stay hungry, and stay inspired. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.